your experience in the womb lives in your cells. And what do I mean by that? Well, we don't just start with our consciousness when we take our first breath. It starts from the time of conception. And it lives in our places where we feel what our mother's been feeling. We take in that information, you know, whether she was stressed out or had a health problem or she's struggling with depression or anger. You know, we take all of that in and we conceptualize it in our cellular banks. Like what was she experiencing? So if you have a anxious mom or maybe she had a death in the family, her mother or father had died or whatever, that anxiety gets played out in our cellular level. And then we have the potential to be anxious, you know, as an anxious child, because that anxiety starts even while you're being formed. So my story is I was kept invisible for 6 months to avoid a medical abortion because my mother was told that she wasn't allowed to have a third child. And she kept me hidden for that time to avoid it. And what that taught me was how to stay invisible in this lifetime to avoid annihilation, and to downplay my emotions and to not move. Because when I moved as a embryo, when I moved and kicked and whatever, it increased the toxicity in her body. And so that affected me with exercise, because every time as a young woman that I would exercise, I would get sick in some way, and then I'd have to stop exercising. But my deepest desire was to move. I love to dance. I love to move. I love to feel my body in that way. I like to express my emotions. You know, I don't want to be stifled and held back and be invisible. And so that part of my life, those 9 months, really fostered who I have become as a woman, as a teacher, as a mentor for others, is to be more visible, speak out, speak your truth, do all of that. So I carried this through my entire life, you know, and how to compensate for that, you know, becoming more allergic or sensitive to chemicals because of that impact of the toxicity of my mom's toxicity led my immune system and everything to kind of hold on to that toxicity. You know, that when I was around something that was very toxic, I would be reactive to it, where maybe other people were not. So I call these heart patterns. These are specific patterns that we hold in our cellular body as memory of our in utero and womb experience. So I would ask yourself, do you know any of them? Do you have them? Was your experience in the womb joyful and happy, and mom wanted you and loved you and cared about you even though you weren't out here? Because that plays a part too. It's not all the negative, it's not all that hardships that mom might have gone through. But I would find out if you can, you know, think about it, you know, what might mom have been going through that you took on that isn't even yours. And find what that is for yourself. Another way to address what you're holding on to from your earliest cellular memory of what it was like to be human and come into this world.